The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Hey, you know, one good thing about being in Texas is that the gas stations, they shoot the gas out of the pump at a much faster speed than Seattle, which sounds really weird, but I mean you go to fill up and it just blasts the gasoline out at an incredibly fast rate. It's actually kind of wonderful. I mean, this thing just shoots out of that pump faster than kind of your average guy interacting with Riley Reid. Oh, sorry, that's probably not appropriate for this channel. Anyway, it's incredible, and it does, as a guy who is very obsessed with saving time on a regular basis. That's pretty damn good. I will tell you that. Anyway. It's like three people who got that reference, and all three of them are like, "Oh!" Right now. Anyway, that's where we are. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else I say about that is probably just a mistake. All right, so let's get to this. We're talking about Batman. So I got this question here, and I think this is something that I thought too. So I watched the new Batman movie, and it was good. What was funny is when I started watching the movie, I'm like, "Oh, this is going to be great." And then almost with every minute of that movie, I got less enthusiastic. It wasn't a bad movie. It was still enjoyable, still fun to watch. But this writer, the person who runs his channel, does a much better job of articulating, or at least sums up my thoughts pretty well. I thought the movie is fine, by the way. Batman, I don't know. The Batman seemed a little dopey. Like everybody was smarter than Batman. There's kind of this weird, like, in movies where they spend a little bit too much time with some kind of cool technology they figured out. In this case, it was like, hey, we'll put a camera in the contacts, and then when we could see what Catwoman's seeing when she's wandering around, and there just is a point where it's like, all right, we got it. You're using cool tech. You can stop with that shit. But there's a little bit like movies, and I get why they do it, but every now and then movies slow down in order to explain something. It's like, hey, we're gonna flood this, so we need to have some scenes of flooding going on in the movie. And then, well, you might not realize that the flooding could cause actual human peril, so we'll show some more of the flooding. And then now we're gonna dangle some electric wires over the water, and that could be bad because you could be shocked. And it's like, all right, let's get to Batman punching people. But anyway. Here's this letter writer. It says, hey, Perch, I thoroughly enjoyed Matt Reeves' The Batman, but there is something about this new film franchise that worries me. Every serious Batman film, Burton, Nolan, and now Reeves, have all focused on the exact same time period of Batman's career, an early days loner Batman. What in the comics we might call the year one long Halloween era. Do you think filmmakers will ever move on to a different time in Batman's history? Before Batman vs. Superman came out, one thing that really excited me about Ben Affleck's older version of the character is we may finally see a new era of Batman's life depicted on the screen. Dick Grayson could already be Nightwing, Barbara Gordon could already be Oracle, Jason Todd could already be dead. I like how you put that. And that's just funny. And Tim Drake could be the present-day Robin. But then the mess that was the movie came out, and Zack Snyder revealed it was Dick Grayson, who was a Robin who died. Though older, Affleck was basically just another dark, loner Batman. Why do you think filmmakers keep focusing on the same time period in Batman's life, and will they ever move forward? I hope Reeves and Pattinson stick with the character for a while and build up their Batman's world over many films and shows. To be honest, though, I kind of get the feeling that Pattinson and Reeves will probably check out after doing a bog standard trilogy. Bog standard? Anyway, with a few tie-in shows and end it there. What are your thoughts? Well, my thoughts are absolutely they're going to do a trilogy that is pretty much the same trilogy, and they're going to end it there. I absolutely. I think that the problem is that the filmmakers convince themselves if they do more beyond the dark loner origin story kind of Batman, that the audience will be like, I'm too stupid to understand what's happening here. And the audience will basically go like, I'm too complicated for me. I'm just a normie. And then they will give up. That's what I feel is coming. Unfortunately, I mean, and what's crazy about that is it's absolutely wrong. If you put a Batman and you movie out, and you basically put up a 10-second little text at the beginning, say, Batman has been adventuring in Gotham for 20 years. He's got a new Robin. These are their adventures. The end. People be fine. They'd be like, all right, I'm rolling with it. They'd be fine. You do not need to keep dredging up the same exact kind of origin story and history. You can move on. But it's an easier movie when it's like Batman's trying to figure out his way in Gotham. Gotham is full of crime, and Batman's trying to stop it. But can he stop it? I don't know, because Batman's concerned he's as much a part of the problem as the solution. Whatever will he do? Hey, here's Scarecrow. That's basically what they're stuck with. And it's short-sighted. They do that because it's a good elevator pitch to Batman. It's like, Batman, a dark vigilante in the night that uses fear to stop criminals. How will he survive when Gotham fights back with a villain that seems to understand his fear-driven ways and has a new way to do? I'm just doing funny voices at this point. That's what they do, and they're stuck in that mentality. I think that it will take kind of a brave studio, brave production company, brave director to say, you know what, we're going to actually, expand the universe of Batman. And here's the prediction. If they were to do that, and keep in mind, do it well, they can't just do that and suck at it. It can't be Batman 4, or what was that, Batman Forever? The Batman that was shitty, with ice skating Batman, and Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze, which weirdly a lot of people are like nostalgic for. They're like, oh man, that was the best Batman. It was fun. It was campy. No, it was a shit movie. I mean, we could say it was fun, but if you go back and you watch that movie and you take off the blinders of how innocent and great it was to be living back in that time period when gas was, cheaper than $1 most of the time, and costs weren't all expensive, and you didn't have a just long parade of idiots as your president. I mean, that was a great time. Don't get me wrong, but that movie still sucked. Bane was just awful, just awful. Go back and watch that movie. Take off the nostalgic glasses. Take out the member berries, and actually just watch that movie, and you will quickly come to the conclusion that it is shitty. But that's what Batman is. So that's another thing that's preventing people. Like, well, we can't do Batman with Robin and all that stuff. We tried that before, and it was awful. But if you took the same kind of seriousness to the franchise, and you actually went ahead and introduced this bigger world, and you had a competent director and a competent writer, and you did this, the weird part is it would be very successful and would open up a huge franchise of additional movies and spinoffs and all the things that Hollywood absolutely loves, and most of the fans ultimately come to hate. It would open up those doors, but they have to be brave enough to go through it. And that's the challenge. So I really wish they would. Honestly, if you're me, or if it was up to me, the Life Story series that they did with Spider-Man and that they did with the Fantastic Four recently, the Fantastic Four one wasn't nearly as good as the Spider-Man one. But that is kind of your Hollywood template. You should try that. Do 5 movies or 6 movies set in different decades so the character could age. You could take your time in doing it. I mean, hell, right now, if you came out with a... well, probably not Tobey Maguire, but if you came out with a Michael Keaton Batman, and he's older, and it's Michael Keaton Batman kind of in this life story type format, where it's like it's toward the end of his career, and we've got all these other characters running around, and Nightwing and all that kind of stuff, I'll bet that would make a shitload of money. Honestly. I mean, I'm not saying everybody wants to watch, old Michael Keaton run around in spandex, but frankly, he wasn't in spandex in the beginning. He had that armor thing going on. But, I mean, if you had that, it would probably do pretty well. You get the nostalgic factor, but also you'd get the time is passing. You'd go ahead and introduce other parts to it. You get to bring in Barbara Gordon and Nightwing and all these other characters, and you're like, see? And if any of them were popular or had good screen presence, I mean, you could do that. By the way, as a complete aside, Urza Miller, and he's a they/them, isn't he? I don't remember. I think he's they/them, but whatever. I haven't had that drilled enough into my head to know what's going on with the pronouns. By the way, that was one of the weirdest shots people make on this channel. It's like, Perch tries to call people by the pronouns that they request. It's like, yeah, I'm not an asshole. I'm not going to try and guess at what you have there. But if you tell me, hey, I'd like to be identified as the sunflower moonbeam. I mean, like, I don't give a shit. I'm not you. I'll call you whatever you want. You got to tell me up front, but then I'll, whatever. Anyway, how awesome would it be to take Urza Miller Flash and actually do Heroes in Crisis and he is Wally West. He is the Flash. I know he's Bart. I know it doesn't work, but or not Bart, Barry. I know he's Barry, but it would be cooler if they could somehow segue him into being Wally West, where he loses his mind and he just kills a bunch of people and he goes over to Hawaii and just starts punching people out. Urza Miller is born for Heroes in Crisis Flash. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I agree with the letter writer here. I would like to see Batman move on to this next stage, and I do think that they're continuing to mine or dig into the same well over and over and over, and it does make me a little crazy. I think that and ultimately it's self-defeating, where you're at some point people wake up and go, wait a minute, this is the same effing story over and over and over again. It's like Batman's sad. Oh, Batman is trying to fix the city, but the city doesn't want to be saved, and he's not perfect at his job because he hasn't had that much experience, but he's trying to figure it out, and he's a detective, and he's just move on. Let's go ahead and have the next stage in Batman's career. I personally would like it. What about you? Let me know in the comments below. Do you want to see the next stage in Batman's career, or would you like to see them just mining the same shit forever? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.